All right.
All right. You are listening to an episode of Transparency and Merit. Red pilling the red pilled. And we're going to get into even what that means and where Brian's mind has gone on this topic, because I know you've talked about it quite a few times, a number of times. And you've mentioned it in many conversations. So why don't you start off, Brian? I'm JP, by the way. Why don't we start off with you kind of explaining a little bit about, I mean, we know the Matrix. I don't know. I haven't done the etymology of this, but the Matrix brought the term red pilling to life, and it's one of those words that has increased in its usage. So, what does it mean to you, and why is it important?
Well, again, I'm taking a look at this back, from basically it started with the Matrix, and then conservatives began to take a look at it, and I believe it's, and I don't know when the phrase when conservatives kind of took that phrase. There is the woke, the left has the woke, and the right has the red pilled. And it's like you've been enlightened through the mass media, through the things that the mass media are showing you are incorrect. Are there? There's another side to the story, and they're basically, the thought is you've been gaslit all these years, and now you're enlightened and you see things that you see things clearly. And I just kind of wanted to point out to this. This is to a degree kind of the like any time that you find something new, anytime that you, like when you first see a movie and you think that is the it's the greatest film of all time. You talk to people and you expect them to think the same thing as you. The same thing is when you find a new faith or a religion, and what you see as enlightenment. You think that you can be, that others, if you express these ideas or they listen to the people that you listen to, that they can be as enlightened as you, and they can think the same things that you think. And we're finding out that that is not true, and that is not real. That's been the problem with the red pill, the red pill community, and I was somewhat one of them. Is I thought that my knowledge and what I learned would be far more universally accepted, and not only is it not accepted, they don't want you. There are certain subjects in this country, and perhaps with regards to the civilized world, that they don't want you to discuss and talk about. So, Joey, I take it to you, and you can if you want to go on about that, but go ahead.
Well, red pilling. It just seems to me that it's a phrase that guys like. I'm not going to mention name, but some of those podcasts out there have really taken red pill and sort of monopolized it, sort of have given it, a definition when, unfortunately, enlightenment comes at different intervals and it has varying impacts on individuals. Are they willing to accept it, and what do they do with it, sort of thing? And I feel like the division mixed with ego, mixed with this idea of illumination or whatever it is, and you just what I find is a giant mishmash of people who uh, flagrantly try to throw their enlightenment in my face, or just on people in general, and I feel like they're so far off base, and I have a tough time really connecting on that level, because my views on enlightenment um, and what it takes to really make change in this world is very, very different. So yeah, I don't know if there's a universe. I believe that there's universal truth. I think truth is irreducible, but I think people latch on to and defend their ego or their point of views with stories that maybe I don't accept. So I don't know, and it's a journey. It's an individual journey, independent journey. Some people strive for it. Some people don't. Some people are happy being stupid.
Yeah, I mean, again, there are, again, sometimes if you find it, what you see to be reality, and the things that you preach and you believe, again, if you go out to certain places, it may not be very safe. And there are certain ideas, even if they are true, will cause punitive action to happen upon you. And it really doesn't matter. And again, I am a person, by the way, who had very strong beliefs at one time, particularly about forgiveness and the certain relationship that I had with my father, that I thought I would never see the other side of it, and I completely changed my point of view on that. So points of view are able to change, but they change often through time and through experience, not so much with words. Sometimes words and knowledge are not enough to do it. It's many times it's personal experience, and oftentimes people relate to you who've had similar experiences. Again, I think I can relate. To me, I think one of the things that is missing now is heterosexual males, in the West and in this country are facing a very tough time right now. And there's not a lot of empathy for them, and they're treated rather cruelly within this society. And yeah, I think there has to be empathy, and I think men have to have friendships. And like I said, I respect gays, I respect lesbians, transsexuals, you name it. They have unique problems, and so do heterosexual males. They also
And
have unique problems. Go ahead.
I don't like the whole idea of getting pounced on for keeping friendships and relationships going. Some people some people have a problem with it, and I find that very peculiar. But it definitely happens, and I'm not sure why. Here's a definition of red pilled. It's a pretty current definition. It's a term used by conservative, and now I'm using Urban Dictionary, by the way, for this definition. A term used by conservative internet users to favorably describe their own socio-political viewpoints at its most basic levels. It means to have been made aware of something obscure or forbidden. It originates from Matrix, 1999 film Matrix, ironically written and directed by two transgender women in a scene where the protagonist is offered a choice between the literal blue pill to wake up, believe whatever he wants to believe, and the red pill, stay in Wonderland, and be shown how deep the rabbit hole goes and join a rebellion. So, yeah, it has the exact same denotion and exactly the opposite connotation as woke, which I find kind of interesting.
Well, again, the woke and the red pilled basically, they are at odds, and the woke, the woke leftists do have control over the establishment, and this group can be very punitive if they want, if they want to be, and if you become to a degree too popular, they have shown themselves to be very malicious and coming after people. I mean, they've taken people's bank accounts and the like. And it's, the punitive action, by the way, seems to have been done without any kind of due process. And my question is in a civil society, before punitive action takes place, shouldn't due process come before punitive action? That is my question for people and for humanity. And I just wanted to, kind of stretch.
What's up, Darren?
Yeah, we have Darren in the room, and Joe and I are just talking about being red pilled or being enlightened. And Joe, do you ever remember at any time where you were yourself enlightened, or you saw a movie or listened to a song that you at the time felt like this is life changing, like as a child or as an adolescent?
I never had that one moment, but I have always questioned what, for some reason or another, even when I was young, look at it, when I look back on some of the earliest reports I did for school, there were topics like, steroids and why steroids was, we were sold a bill of goods that these baseball players were as good as they are, when in fact they may have been enhanced, and just other kinds of topics, like when the idea of having our water polluted, with fluoride, or and does it really make our teeth stronger? I guess there's some evidence that between a certain age, fluoride in certain doses are actually very good at strengthening teeth. But overall, is it a good or bad thing? So I was questioning a lot of things very early on. I never had a moment where I thought, I should think differently. Of course, I mean, that happens. I'm a kind of a sucker for shortcuts and those ideas, those midnight ideas that come out, and I've tricked myself. But when it comes to, like, things like the food pyramid, I mean, is that really the best way? Is a breakfast that's super high in fat and salt really good for you? There's all these things that I was questioning from the very beginning, and never took to voting or anything like that. I've always been kind of an independent thinker. Why are there only two choices? Why do we only have two guys at the top? And who are these guys? And why isn't this smart guy I know that lives down the street running for office? And I was always very skeptical of mainstream notions. And I mean, there are those moments, those aha moments, from song or from whatever it was, something I watched, maybe a movie, kind of helped me have a mental breakthrough of some kind. But yeah, like as far as just like an overall worldview, I can't really point to one. How about yourself? Was there a download? Was there something major that happened? I know Darren had a download one time. He explained that it was pretty interesting. Have you had a moment like that though, where you kind of were like, oh?
You know what? I'll say this for me. 2020 has been, 2022 in these years has been a time of anger and also a time of enlightenment to a degree, where you recognize those who want to, like, who are really fanatical, and and that, in my opinion, seems to have made the other side more fanatical, just as fanatical, by the way. And they both accuse each other of being fanatical, and they don't even see their own fanaticism. I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen such lack of awareness in all of my life. It's never, there's such emotion out there with regards to human beings right now. And so many people think that they are absolutely correct and right. And I might be one of them. I mean, to a degree, what is in them is in me. I've been there too, and sometimes I still sometimes I still am there, and that's true. Both halves of the country think the other side is trying to take away democracy, and it does kind of sadden me, because there is, for a while there, I was looking at the internet, and I was seeing, what I was observing was a place where people were going to come together and they were going to realize certain things, and that's not what happened. What happened was,
Right.
one side clamped down because they didn't like what the other side was saying, and they felt that the information that they were saying was too dangerous for the masses. I believe, I mean, Brian Stelter said it, but I believe that when Brian Stelter said it, that other people believe it as well. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach. And really what they mean is they should be able to control the information that they believe that they should present to you, what you are to see and what you are not to see. And they're doing it without discussion. And, like I said, they have control over our economy and over everything else. And only the people who are really, and it's made us more polarized. This kind of censorship has made us even more polarized. And in the middle and the center, because both sides are very angry at each other. And I think the side that is being censored and being censored by the sanctimonious and the cruel, there's a seething anger there. I mean, I was angry about it. I'm like, you're not allowing a person to discuss or debate, and you're having arbitrary rules out here, and you are unwilling to discuss these rules. I mean, some of these YouTube channels and Twitter things were rather popular. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, we found what we wanted to believe in on YouTube, whatever the narrative you could find. That's true. And that was taken away. That was taken away. And, I think the first time was like the ad apocalypse around 2015. And then it just started to become progressively worse, until we have what we have now. Is, in reality, you cannot, there are certain things that will be shadow banned or banned, however, by the powers that be, because they're afraid of information. And why would you, to me, I haven't heard a good argument on why information is dangerous, why opinions are dangerous. I mean, again, there's always a possibility that something can rise up, but I think good ideas and decent ideas defeat wrong ideas. I'm going to add Darren into the mix. I'll give you a post here. Hold on one second. Darren, click on the link and you can be added in. But yeah, that's just kind of my thought, and I've I've had a bit of a, like I said, some enlightenment moments over time, and yeah, and it's been over the years that where things were, hit me, and I realized, I'm capable of doing this, and this is true, and this is not true.
It takes years. It takes time. It takes effort, and I'm not seeing a lot of people put in the effort, and that's a sad thing. But I keep marching on. I keep looking at words I use frequently, and getting my mind blown that I've been tricked. I've been tricking myself, um, and and the more I learn and relearn, and it sounds repetitive, but it's not. It's uh, drawn a clear path, and the more I put it, more I put the pieces together, it's certainly um, a good way to keep my ego in check, keep my mind open to the road to figure out where I need to get to, and it's actually created this whole sort of I guess if there is an eye-opening moment, there was information I started digging into about 5 or 6 years ago, and the path is so long and winding. It was just I can never put the pieces together, but as I go along, and as I remain observer in my world, it all starts to crystallize, and I was given this kind of thought that in a world where we're told everything has been, there's nothing new under the sun type of thing. I suddenly realized there's so much to apply, and there's so much to learn, and it always kind of makes me wonder, makes me sad that some people are willing to just put their hat on a rack, and um, keep it there's a song, they like to keep it copacetic. They don't want to really buck at it. When I asked even one of my best friends about a very difficult problem I had, he said it's not worth it. And I was just like, I don't know how he quantified what I was asking him. And for me, it's always worth it if you can do that. If I could say that, it's worth it to go an extra step, and it's okay to be accused of overthinking, because it does require a lot of thought. It does require a lot of meditation, and above and beyond all of that, what you do and how you approach others with the information is you have to be a sort of diplomat. You have to be able to be in control of your emotions, and not reverting to the old ways that I used to protect myself with. So it leaves me vulnerable to certain things, but it's been very eye opening. It's been very important to me. So
Always protect yourself. Can
what's
you guys
that?
hear me?
Hey, Darren, I just wanted to add, and I want to reemphasize. I think I want to reemphasize this, that sometimes when you have a belief and you believe that you are correct, that is a time when you may meet fierce resistance. And there are times when you believe you know the truth, and you may even realize the truth, but there are people that do not realize your reality or your truth. And that, to a degree, came as a shock to me, to a degree, but now it does not. And now I know how those who oppose what I believe think, and not only what they think, what they are capable of doing. Darren, welcome to the podcast. You got something to add?
Well, the problem is if you have 100% belief in something and you have someone else that believes 100% the opposite, you'll never talk. You'll never listen, really. I mean, you'll talk, but you probably won't listen to each other. And that's what happened.
Well, my opinion, Darren, is there are so many people in the world out there that where minds are ready to kind of come to meet. And my first thing with somebody is, does a human being deserve, in a civil society, does a human being deserve due process before punitive action is to take place? Is that just for a court of law? Or should that take place? Should a moral society provide punitive action? And their answer will tell me if I want to proceed with them or not. Any comment on that?
I don't know. I'm not sure I understand, but I always try to now.
I didn't understand the question either.
I try to, if there's any way to forgive somebody, and that's the route I try to go. I always look for forgiveness opportunities nowadays.
Yeah, I do too. For the most part, people are redeemable.
I think most people try the best they can, but it's frustrating. You're trying to find the truth out, and it seems like you could, if you believe one thing, if you want to open your mind up, just look at the exact opposite, and you'll find it. You'll find it online.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Darren. I mean, you were at one time, and I don't know if you still are, but kind of red-pilled on things where you started to look at things like through like more of a critical eye and saw the cult-like behavior with regards to the left. And you thought, was there a time where you thought, man, I'm saying such common sense. Why do certain people not believe the same things that I believe? And why is there such pushback?
Well, the problem was the colleges. I mean, they just took over. The teachers all believe the same thing. They're teaching all the students the same thing. You get a hive mind like that together, and you get what happened at Evergreen. You get what happened to my kids. They go away to school, and they just, are 100% positive on their beliefs because they have a whole group of people, plus the teachers, that all believe the exact same thing. And across the city, we have Corbin College, and they're a right-wing college, and they're teaching their kids the opposite. The whole thing just got completely divided. And intellectuals just, I don't know. There used to be intellectuals on both sides, but it seems like the colleges,
they're getting harder to find, right? It's getting harder to find the intellectuals who aren't bought and sold is the problem. And you can't go to the universities. They've been proven to have been caught in so many scandals. It's they are bought and sold. Their science is not helping the world. Brian, what do you say? You look like you're about to crap your pants.
Again, I don't believe. Again, I believe that it is ideology. I do not believe that it's bought and sold. Unless it's bought and sold.
I'm not coming from a place of belief, Brian. I'm coming from a place of knowledge. You're saying you don't believe. Do you believe it or do you know it?
Again, and no offense, but I have not been convinced otherwise. And I have taught, like I said, from what I have observed, that's what I see. I see a hive mind, and I see that people believe what they believe, and it is ideals.
I wanted to go to Idaho this summer with my daughter, and she refused to go across that state line because it's all full of racists.
Well, that's
beautiful state. I wanted to visit like some lakes.
Oh, it's so not true either. I have good friends that live there that
honestly believes that. They're all 90% racist, and she thinks, that when she came back from college, she's like, you're white and you don't get it and you're racist. And it's like, where is this coming from? It's like, just because you're middle-aged and white, if you label them all racist, how is that different than being racist yourself?
She's objectifying you.
Yeah, it was very frustrating.
But again, I say bought and sold. I mean, if it's about, again, I believe that ego, for me, what I'm observing is ego is playing a large role in ideology. And that's what I am observing on both sides. I mean, with the Let's Go Brandon side, they may be right, but the manner in which they are choosing to go about it is incorrect. And then there is the woke side who believe that they're so right that they can shut down your speech, and they believe that they are so correct in doing what they're doing, they can take your bank accounts and the like. And there are people perhaps making money on the side and colluding with these ideological zealots. But that's the way, that's what we are facing today. We are facing a society that wants compliance without discussion and without debate. That's what I'm observing. Certainly could be wrong, but that is what I am observing with what I see as of now. And I'm willing to be proven wrong on that, but I have yet to see anything that that opposes my view.
Well, it definitely is a problem. I wish I could go back in 5 years and
But,
change.
so, what would your daughter say? What would your daughter say if you asked your daughter, as a human being, am I entitled to due process? Am I entitled to be listened and heard out before being guilty? Are my ideas given any value, or am I valued as a human being?
She wouldn't listen. She would, because she's so convicted in her own beliefs. You know.
So if you said so, would she say that I? So would she say that you are not worthy? Your ideas are not worthy to be listened to?
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. But she definitely doesn't really listen. She hears me, but she doesn't listen. Because she's never open to believe any of it. Because she's so, she's got this huge group of friends that all believe the exact same thing, because they've been taught that.
It's where the court of public opinion starts, right there in the universities. The younger the mind, the harder they'll fight.
Yeah.
You know what? And I could say I've never believed in that woke stuff, but I had beliefs against like my father in particular, and like it was I had very intellectual reasons to dislike him, and then again once he passed away, I kind of realized we are not raised by angels; we're raised by human beings, and I believe that within society is not a bunch of angels; they're human beings, and they are human beings with flaws.
That's why we're here. It's the human experience. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's right. That is why we're here.
I think so.
We're human beings with flaws, and it's trial and error. We fail, we succeed, and sometimes we make things worse. Sometimes we think we have the greatest ideas, and they're the great ideas in our head, and then we put them on the field to play, and they may fail miserably. And then again, we may not pay the price, and we'll try to blame somebody else. That's another thing, and that's human nature.
We're all victims.
No doubt. As human beings, I think the ego protects itself, and the ego is always going to say, my ideas. Someone tried to stop my ideas, and again, particularly if you're in a fight, or in a battle, the truth is, you may not have known your enemy well enough. How well do you know your opposition? Like what corridors of power do they have, and what can they do to you?
Darren, do you believe yourself to be little in this universe or large?
Well, I used to.
Good. Okay.
Now I feel like I'm one with the universe. All seeing.
There you go. That's a good transformation. That's
So
a positive
I
transformation.
easily
That is one thing we are all victims to. We are all led to believe we are insignificant, tiny, small, and
accept-
it's futile, but it's not.
no, and I was fearful, and
Mhm.
I didn't believe in God. I just in the physical world. I was just like, where is he? I don't believe he's up in the sky. Where is he? And for years, like the last 10 years, it's just like, it could equally be there's no God, and this is just it. This is, he's not electrons. What the hell is he? I don't see him in the world. And then when I had the experience, I was told he's like the glue and everything's a vibration. There's really no matter. I was like, oh, okay. It's
Wow.
conscious. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's like
I
it's
will tell
everywhere.
you, I've asked,
Every atom, every single rock and some moon and some fucking far off galaxy is like, okay. And you're part of it, and you're equally as it's like I thought I was a freaking drop of water in an old dirty cup, and I found out it was the fucking clear blue ocean. It's very crazy
I'll be
experience.
honest, I've asked a lot of people that question, even here on the show. I always slip it in, and almost every answer is how insignificant or small they are in relation to everything. And so it's nice to hear that that's the kind of response that I generally accept.
Oh man,
Yeah.
for like 6 weeks, I felt like I was having half an orgasm for 6 straight weeks. It was crazy, and I could read. I could read stuff and get knowledge on. I could listen to music and hear hear it like it's for the first time. I'd sit in the backyard, just stare at the plants and bugs for hours. It was a trip, man. It was crazy. It was wonderful. It really was, and all my fear of dying just disappeared. It's like the light switch, and it hasn't come back. It's been wonderful. So it's a good way to live.
Yep, it's definitely a good way to live. And in fact, by understanding death on a different level, it does help you live. Absolutely. I think there's a heavy misconception about death here in America. I don't know if it's like that worldwide, but it's I know. Do you know it's celebrated? Death is celebrated in some cultures, like in Mexico, and yeah, I mean we've gotten a rotten deal even with our perception on death.
I was watching the other day these videos about the Buddhist monks that were done with their life, and then they would just lay down and die, and like everyone would pray over them. They pick up the dead body and bring him out. It's freaking crazy. They just like ascend, just die. They're young too. Like one of the guys is probably 50 years old. It's time to go. I did everything I was supposed to do in this lifetime. Okay. I think it was real too, personally. But pretty crazy
Interesting.
videos.
All right, so we're red pilling tonight. Brian, do you have any? What else? Where were you going?
I was, yeah, I mean, like I said, I guess I've found some forms of enlightenment. I haven't found it in the way Darren has, but I certainly have had some, just like kind of revelations in my mind. Again, for me, I do not necessarily believe in the supernatural, but there are things that come into my mind and come into my being, and my belief systems have changed. And I didn't think, and I didn't think that they would. I think that there were beliefs that I thought that I would always have, and then there was some change within my life. So I've certainly changed certain outlooks on my life. I certainly have, again, a different view on things, and I have urge for self-improvement, and I think human nature strives for self-improvement within the society, and there is the natural state of things. I believe that conquest ethic is to a degree part of human nature. It is human nature to want to, whether it's taking by force or taking by votes, the property of others. That is what, that is what human beings will do if they are in a desperate situation. And sometimes there is nothing you can do about it. Right, morality or decency or fairness have nothing to do with it, because you can try to convince somebody that this is my property and I worked for it and I was responsible and I shouldn't have to pay for your irresponsibility. But if that person has enough irresponsible people to vote on his side, he's going to take away your property, like it or not. And that's the way it's going to happen. And that's, I think, again, part of human nature. It's part of conquest and survival.
I used to always be like envious of other people's beautiful homes and stuff before my awakening, and then afterwards, I just look at it all as just like all one big beautiful thing, and I'll just look at a nice house, and I have no envy of the people that own it anymore. It's weird. I just try to look at everything and just enjoy it, like a sunset,
Well, envy is a sin to a degree.
I used to be envious of everything. It seemed,
Yeah,
a beautiful wife with some guy. I was like, man, I'd be, and I just don't care. I just look at it like, oh, that's really cool. Just, it's just totally different. I wish I could explain it better.
That's me too. I used to be envious of other people, and there's a part of me, like the only thing that I'm envious now is people that still kind of have their parents. And if I knew what I knew now, I think I would would have acted differently. But those things are not, that's not necessarily available. And like I said, I certainly want to make, I want to be as humanly profitable as I can, and I want to be as productive as I can. Maybe even inspire others to be more productive. That's that would be kind of my goal, and I think my goal for transparency in marriage, how to be more productive with what you have, and
Or maybe creative would be a better word.
creative or productive. Yeah, I mean, both are one and the same. You can be productive with your creation, and don't the one thing I tell people is don't look for perfection. It's the enemy of progress. And sometimes when you have ideas, you're going to run up against people that are not going to not going to think the same way you do. And human beings sometimes are a hive mind, and other times they're not. I mean,
It does remind me of a quote. The order of a creative civilization will emerge in much the same way that order manifests itself through the rest of nature, not from those who fashion themselves leaders of others, but from the interconnectedness of individuals pursuing their respective self-interests. So that was interesting that you mentioned a creative type of situation, creative civilization.
I used to think the universe is complex and chaotic, and when I had one night I had this experience, it seemed so simple, so perfect. It was absolute perfection
and pretty stable.
Yeah, well, I don't know about it. Just was. It's so hard to explain.
Well, test this out sometime. Seriously, go outside and close your eyes and imagine we're on a world hurtling through space at the sound of at the speed of light.
I know it's crazy to think about. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, and then go inside, come back outside, close your eyes again, and then imagine that you're on a world that is stable, not hurtling through space, but stationary, and just
Well,
let that hit you for a second, and you
if
start to see
everything's
something very
energy
interesting.
anyways, what's it matter? I mean,
Well,
it's
it does
still
matter.
energy, but either it's moving or it's not moving. But
Well, in that
particles
respect,
moving all the time, anyways.
it's
Everything's
not.
space mostly.
Well, maybe that chaos does breed fear. That idea that we're hurtling at unknown speeds through space without like any kind. How does any of that make sense? And when you start to think about it, it's very meditative. For me, it was.
Yeah.
For
Hey,
me,
if it works, it works.
For me, I was stable and I was more at ease and I could breathe easier. And it was just a little personal test that I did, and it actually was really beneficial for me.
Did you feel it like above your eyes and above your head?
My whole body felt at ease because I didn't feel like. But when I was imagining that we were hurtling through space, my balance wasn't great. I was not at ease.
I was meditating once. I had this vibration all the way up my spine. It was crazy. And then like right out the top of my head. It's just
Wow.
an
Yeah.
amazing experience.
Where were you when that happened? Were you at home or were you out?
I was in bed upstairs,
Wow.
breathing techniques, meditating.
Yep. All starts with breathing.
Yeah.
All starts with breathing. That and I had a conversation that does bring this around a little bit. I was talking to Brian earlier, and he said that something that was shocking to me that he did, because we were talking about religion. I said that religion is a perversion of spirituality. And he said that he doesn't know if he believes in spirituality, but if you are breathing, you are inspired, which is spiritual. Anything breathing is inspired and spiritual. So every breath you take, not to sound like a song,
every move you make,
every move you make. No, but with each breath, you are experiencing spirituality.
It's definitely
that's just
part of it.
But
That's when, I started before that all this happened. I listened to a meditation book on an audio book, and then I started practicing it in the pool, and I tried to make it all the way down without thinking of anything else. And every once in a while, like another thought would come in, and you'd forget that the thought was there, and you'd have to, notice like a rodent coming out of a hole. You'd have to beat it back. It's just like, because thoughts just keep coming into your head until you really practice at it, and then pretty soon I could make 2 laps, and then I could make 3 laps, and all of a sudden it just clicked for me, and I could just shut off my brain. It was almost like being super high. I don't smoke pot, but I have, in the past, and I remember what I know what it feels like, and it was like naturally being in a state of being high. Just your brain just wasn't thinking. It's just shut off. You're just like in the moment, just right here and now, just looking and nothing else, no thoughts.
It's so important to quiet all that noise. There's so much loose change floating around in our heads. Sometimes we don't realize.
Oh, and self-destructive thoughts, about negative thoughts about yourself.
Yeah.
Negative thoughts about others, frustrations with the world. People see things the opposite of you, or criticize you or attack you, and you learn to just, if you practice forgiveness, it's just like you just let it all go, and just your brain just takes a chill pill big time.
It's humbling. That's why. Willie says, JP, what's up, Willie? All right. I had to get that in. What's up, Brian? Where you at?
I mean, like I said, I don't know. I mean, like, I have more of a natural kind of thing. I see nature, and I don't see whether it's beautiful or, I mean, I see the beauty in it, and I see the ugliness in it, and I see, to me, I see a reality and a world out there. I see it for what it is. I can be upset and angry at it, but I can also, just say, man, this is what it is. Uh, what can you do? Perhaps very limited. But like I said, if I were living in Nazi Germany, I would see it for what it is. If I were living in, communist Russia or Pol Pot's Cambodia, there are things out there. There is a reality out there, and there is a real world out there that one can see and observe, and that's more of my interest than I believe in both. But I mean,
I think it's an illusion.
I don't agree. I disagree with that 1,000.
I do.
Illusion.
Yeah,
Okay.
because everything is pretty much space and particles, and that's what I think.
No, that's what you. I do not. I'm sorry. I do not think that. I
I
mean,
didn't used to either.
well, yeah. Yeah, and I'm perhaps Joe disagrees as well, but I do not. Subscribe to that belief. I believe in like, I mean, again, I mean, we can go on about what is real and what is not.
Willie,
Well, wait. Are you talking about spirituality again?
no,
No.
world, just the world,
I'm talking. I'm talking about the world in which I live
physical matter.
Okay.
in. The world in which to me, I'm focused on the world in which I live in, and as a man, as a human male, my nature and is my nature. Most of male's nature is to survive and reproduce. And at this point, in this nation, in this country, men, for the most part, we can survive. It's the reproduction part that we.
Did he freeze on you too? I think Brian froze up.
I think.
Yeah, he's just got his index finger up in the air. So, Brian, something's going on.
Still on, or are we still on?
We are. Well, yeah, it's a good question. I am not sure. Because if he's off, he's the one that started the show. I can't even turn it on or off. Oh, Willie, did the show end? Are you still hearing us? Willie, you're our only hope. That's sad. I don't want to rely on Willie for the end of a show, but maybe it's over.
It's talking about the world, though. He's talking about just being outside, and he sees things that are not cool. I'll go out there and I'll stare at a weed on the sidewalk and just think everything's cool now. I just look at it all. I just take it all in. It's very.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's. I kind of. I don't know if you've had any blowback for that, but I've been accused of a lot of things like lacking a sense of urgency. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it's like I'll get my work done, but I am gonna stop and check out this flower or whatever.
I had to quit working with so many people all the time because I couldn't stay where I like to be. In the happy mode. It's just too many people would draw my energy down.
Right.
Right. Weird.
Every corporate job I've ever had was like that, where I ended up, after a few months, just completely zapped, just in every way.
But, yeah, I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, it was time. But yeah, it's great.
Well, there's that trade-off, right? Making great money, just seemingly getting like, well, I get more stuff done now in my personal life than I used to.
I would say don't, but easier. Like my right now, it's like a foot long out front.
Well, I do want to sit. I do want to sit more. I agree. I want to sit and just enjoy, my good thoughts. And
My friend Todd, he'll go out there and mow like every 3 days, and
oh
every
wow,
I'll just go out there like once every 3 weeks, and
that's a
same with
lot.
vacuuming, and you can make work for yourself all the time if you wanted to. Uh,
Yep, that's true. Yeah, the best way to do that is just get better tools. Then you're more interested. Brian, are you back?
I am back.
You sound a little bit low.
Oh, I am back. Yeah, I
Okay.
am.
Okay, you're saying that the world is all there is in the physical world, and you're a man that needs to reproduce, and you're a brain.
Yes.
Again, I see that as a problem with a lot of men. I think, again, human beings face unique problems, and they face unique problems at certain times of their lives. And again, I think there are unique problems with a gay man or with a lesbian woman and with a heterosexual man and with a trans person. These people have unique problems. And one of the desires of males, by the way, straight males, is, to eat for food and reproduction. And when those things aren't met, uh, there can be problems. And I'm not saying that is something that can necessarily, that's a problem that necessarily can be solved. But it certainly is a problem that I see that perhaps could be addressed within our society. Again, I think that there are unique problems with many portions of our society.
I think
And
I think men have a lot of men have a lot of guilt issues with sex, especially with masturbation stuff. And that's just what I think.
Well, when I think on all the efforts that have been made to really destroy sex and all the things that have gone on in the media to really make sex out and men out to be something terrible, and
We're
so
all we're all
we're
rapists.
struggling.
We're all
Yeah,
rapists.
yeah, right.
I mean, again, there is a reality to things. I mean, we are a more decent and more civil society. We don't take things by force anymore, particularly in the Western world. And again, for me, my interests are, is concrete to live. I'm not afraid of death either, but my interest is to live as long as I can, to help others live as long as they can, and maybe even, scientifically, perhaps bring people back to life and have longevity. That's all, that has been on the forefront of my mind, and I think that may or may not be a possibility, but it's something to always strive for.
Well, isn't that what the church is promising you, though? Eternal life.
But they're promising, okay, to me, what they're promising me is, most religions may offer eternal life, and the church is offering me, but they want me to believe in things that that I have a hard time believing the reality in. I don't believe that a human being walked on water. I don't believe in a virgin birth. I don't, believe that somebody came back from life. I don't believe that. Like even when I was a child and I was listening to those stories, I was like, you don't necessarily, don't tell me that you believe in this stuff.
Okay, now Brian, if I could just tell you right now, all the things I've been talking about for months and months, and you kind of, it doesn't seem very clear. I'll tell you right now what that is, and I could summarize it in 2 words. It is that the idea of conception versus fertilization as the beginning, and that's why these two ideas are so very important to the lexicon and to the future of the country. It affects everything from how a female and baby bond to how money is generated. And that I know it's a strange leap, and it's not something I could have written, but this is the facts, and it's my mission to be able to explain these bridges in a way that makes sense, and that's what I strive to do. I'm going to do a series of shows, and I am going to explain how conception versus fertilization is the most important terms of our time.
When I was little, I was raised in the Catholic Church, and I feared death because I feared hell and everything, goes along with it. And then when I was an atheist, I basically didn't believe in God, and I basically believed that when you died, you went nowhere. And so I stopped fearing in death. I stopped fearing death. That I started, I stopped fearing hell, really. But then when this happened, then it's just like the best of both worlds for me, because I don't fear death, but I don't think it's the end either. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot
good.
Happier way to live for me personally. And
if we are
me
truly
tricking myself, I don't give two fucks. Just sorry.
Well, even if we're like you say, if we're interconnected with everything.
So
and when we die and our spirit does leave our bodies, right? We have expired. There's no more inspiration, but that energy, what happens? Does it just fizzle off into the atmosphere, or does it regenerate? Does it reform? What happens next? And it's a real interesting concept to tinker with.
Yeah, maybe it's all simulation. That's what Willie thinks. It's possible.
Well, I have some thoughts on that too, because if you have a simulation must be based on a reality. Does it not? I mean, it implies it. If you're simulating, what the heck? If simulation is simulating, what is it simulating? And I would say it's simulating life, which is what we have, life.
If the universe is ever expanding and it's created, then it is a simulation, if you think about it. Just over a great vast amount of time.
I don't subscribe to that, but I understand. I see it a little better, and I'd like to, I think it's kind of, I don't know, sad, but I've been approached by a young person, 12 years old, and he said, "JP, do we live in a simulation?" And I said the same thing. I said, "Doesn't a simulation mean you're simulating reality?"
I think you need avatars and we're really somewhere else. It's just a part of us.
Whatever the case. Whatever the case, she felt it was something that I had to talk to her. She had to talk to me about. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm hearing everything you guys are saying, and again,
simulation or not?
Just us. We're super lucky to be here.
Again,
in the millions of years, we just happened to find a planet. We happen to be born out of the billions of sperm. We happen to be alive at this time in this section of the galaxy, and it's just a freaking miracle. So every moment matters. That's what I used to think. You didn't want to make a mistake. You didn't want to take chances because you're like, everything matters so much. We only have so many breaths left. We got to make the most of it before it's over. I just don't buy that anymore. I'm more like enjoying the ride. I don't know. Something popped.
Well, that form of reality is not something that is in me. And
you don't fear death, though.
You know what? I mean, we're all going to die. just a matter of how and when. And I haven't seen anybody back from it, and I have not seen any kind of spirit or anything like that. Like I said, medical science seems to have proven that we can live longer. Sometimes medical science fails up. Governments will lie to us. I believe, from what I observe, that most governments make mistakes because they believe that they are correct in what they're doing, and then when they fail, they try to cover it up. They try to cover up their failures. Most human beings often believe in what they're doing, and it's when they fail that they start to cover things up and start to lie. That's where the corruption comes in, on average.
I agree. The governments never tell us when they screw up. They just bury it.
Human beings do the same. I mean, the government is made of human beings like you and me, flesh and blood. And ego is a strong drug. And, people have ideas based upon ego. And when they fail and they mess up, they're going to try to cover up because humiliation's a hell of a thing.
I want to be a public servant and go there and make $200 million.
Of course. You and everybody else, it's easier said than done.
It's such bullshit.
You got to have connections.
It's bullshit that they can accept money for their votes. And that's legal. That's just bullshit.
That's the way it goes. And again, a lot of times politicians believe that they're doing the right thing, that they are doing the will of the people, that they are on the side of the angels. And when they make a mistake and they foul up, that's when they cover up. And that's part of human nature. And when you try to discover the truth, you're going to run into people's ego, and they don't want you to do that. A lot of ideals and beliefs are based, are not necessarily based on fact. They're often there's ego within that. I think particularly with regards to the social sciences, and people don't necessarily want these beliefs challenged in any way.
I, for one, freely choose biological mortality that begins at fertilization and ends with my last expired breath over any sort of extension of life or promise of immortality, whatever it is, because that's always going to be subject to somebody else's jurisdiction or whatever it is.
Can you imagine if there was like a group of people on the planet that could live forever, and you could like get some drug and live forever? How freaking weird it would be. The rest of us die. Death's the ultimate equalizer.
Who's to say that people can't be brought back from life?
From life? I mean, from death?
I mean, re-brought back from life. Who's to say that that's not necessarily possible?
No, impossible.
Why?
Oh, you mean after they're dead?
Not even the future? You can't, you can't wait.
No.
Put your brain in the freezer?
Absolutely not. No way. No. There's no guarantee or promise either. There's no promise that would ever make me change my mind. There's not. Once you're dead, you're dead. It's irreversible.
What happens when you die?
It's irreversible. That's all I know. I haven't been there yet. I'll let you know when I do.
My gut feeling is it's just a small part of a bigger me. No, it's weird. It's like a finger being put down into the earth to explore.
I'll tell you one thing though. I may have acted a little differently towards my mom who died this year. When I was younger, I had this thought that, I've heard other people say this too, but when my mom dies, it's, I would think this when I was young. My mom's getting older, but when she dies, there's one day where we'll meet again. And now I've completely changed my thinking. I would have treated her differently, because I don't believe that to be the case. I don't believe that I die and go and meet her, or have the ability. It just doesn't. All of that requires such a heavy leap of faith and belief. I'm not willing to do that, and so I have to go with what I think is common sense, and that's when you're gone, you're gone. And so that's why I want to treat the people that are here now with a certain level of respect. I'm trying my hardest to be a pacifist, but it hasn't always worked out so great for me yet. But I'm working on it, just like Brian and his stoicism.
Yeah. Do you ever watch any of the, like, on YouTube? There's probably 5 to 10,000 NDE videos out now. Have you seen any of them?
NDE, what exactly?
Near death experience videos.
You know what? Again, I have no desire. There are so many things that I go down stupid rabbit holes and waste my time with. That's not one of them. Uh, again, I do not necessarily believe that there is life after death. And Joey believes that there's no hope to have life after death, that science will not even save us. I am someone that believes that human beings should strive to learn, and I believe that perhaps we can have heaven on earth. Maybe that is a dream, but I think science, mathematics, and those things will bring us closer to a more knowledgeable life.
So for me, that just I don't want to rest on my beliefs. I want to work hard here now, and when that time comes, let the chips fall where they may. But I have no guarantee. I have no desire for that. I have one go around here, and that, I think, fires me up. Fires me up when I wake up to get something done, and to not feel useless, even though at moments today I did have that cross my mind. I kind of felt useless in some ways, but that it's these are things to fight off. These are things that cross my mind, and I think in the big picture of things, if this is it, you may as well go for it, and try to continue to strive to climb up whatever mountain you've always thought was out of reach, or whatever kind of cheesy expression you want to throw in there.
I think I've been here a bunch of times already. I really do.
You think? I'm sorry, I missed that. You think we've been here?
I think I have.
Yeah.
I think I've been.
I've heard this. It's very interesting. I even heard somebody told me, what do you think about this? Somebody was talking. He said that maybe we're an accumulation of billions of me's. Imagine that, like just billions.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we get to experience everybody else's life. I'll have the knowledge of every single life on this planet and throughout history. It's like the amount of knowledge that we're going to get is just going to be incredible, mind blowing. We'll know what it's like to meet Hugh Hefner's life.
Yeah, I'm also kind of thinking that too. I think there are going to be some pretty amazing things revealed. I've seen some examples, and it's people are probably just being creative about it. But the possibilities, I suppose, are kind of endless. But I just I don't see anything like extended life, or curing certain things. I still think the most important things will still hold true. Otherwise, those things wouldn't be secrets. There's no way some of these ideas would be able to be kept a secret, in my view.
Yeah, there's some interesting people that remember their past lives too, but you guys aren't interested in that kind of stuff, then whatever.
Well, past life regression is a for some reason it's I don't know if it's actually called evidence based, but it's a pretty well accepted method of therapy.
My favorite's that lady that remembered living in Ireland. She had 12 kids and she died young, and she grew up and she was like 40. She still had all these memories of her other life. And she freaking went over there and figured out exactly where the house was. And then she found all her not all her children, because they weren't all alive, but they're all in their late 70s. And she found all the children, and it's interesting. There's a documentary and a book about it. It's fascinating.
I don't know. I don't know who buys these books, Darren, but I guess you found. I don't subscribe to those things, but
oh, it's great. They interviewed her kids, and
they always sound
believed
hokey.
it, if they believed it or not. And like,
Brian, why are you shaking your head? Speak up.
Three
What
of
are
them
you talking
believed it, and
What?
like the others were Catholic, and they didn't want to believe in reincarnation because it went against their religious beliefs. It's fascinating.
Yes.
Well, I mean, those kind of, like they, as far as my thoughts and beliefs go, I mean, again, I do not believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in these kinds of things. I have much more of a belief in nature and science. And
There's
again,
people spending $150 an hour to get regressive hypnotism done to them. Yeah, are you saying they're all being BS'd? I do. But.
listen, I went to confession as a young man. There are things I believe in it as far as human to human connection. But again,
So you believe that everything's just kind of evolved slowly?
again, I'm not
DNA strands, the
again.
crazy hormones in our body that we don't even understand.
Again, there are things that I do not understand, but as far as certain forms of paranormal or the supernatural, I'm very skeptical on. And right now, again, for me, I personally strive for the real world. I think human beings have real world struggles. And for me, I personally want to deal with people who are dealing within the real world, who have real world struggles, and how to enhance those lives. Those things that are being talked about.
Can I ask you a question?
Let me finish, and then you can continue. They do not resonate with me, not one bit. Go ahead.
Is love in the real world?
Why you got to drop that on them like that, Darren? Why?
Is love in the real world?
Yeah, is it real?
That's a good question. I'm honest. I don't necessarily know. I mean, again,
Of course, there's love is sometimes you can feel it. I mean, it's not.
Science measure it?
It's hard to measure. It's hard to feel.
Possible to measure.
But when you do, your left kneecap jiggles.
There you go. Is it real? Is God real?
I don't, I don't necessarily see evidence. I believe that nature, like I said, here's the thing, I don't know, but for me, I have desires. I have human desires, and I think other human beings have those desires as well. And I want to enhance them, and I think I have a better chance if I join others who want to enhance those things as well. But I strive for self-improvement, and others also strive for self-improvement. And and I don't know if it's because of my experiences growing up where I did. Sometimes it was nice, and other times it was hostile. But I know danger when I see it, and I know I know things that are less dangerous when I see it, and sometimes the rug can be absolutely pulled out from under you. But there are certain things that I am keenly aware of as a person and as a human being. One of the things I strive for is being aware of other human beings and their conditions around me.
Has something happened to you that's made you turn your back on love, or have you turned your back on love, or is there something that's given you a bad taste in your mouth about love? You had a bad experience, like a bad trip.
I strive to treat everyone with respect, and I don't know, like I said, the feeling of love. I mean, like, look, I've had feelings of, I guess, of both love and hate, and
Is hate real?
Can you buy love?
hate and anger are easy to more easy, I guess, to quantify than love. I mean, love is blind, and hate are, because people, like, when you say why do you love someone, sometimes, like, particularly with a girl, or when two people are in puppy love, they'll say, oh, they're so sweet and they're so this or they're so that. When you hate someone, I mean, they say love is blind, and hate are the glasses you put on to see. You know exactly why. You can explain and verbalize much better why you hate someone than why you love someone. And it is easier to hate someone than it is to love someone. It's easier to piss someone off than to get them to rethink their values. Human beings by nature are set in their ways to a degree, and it sometimes takes life-changing experiences to, to change. And yeah, I mean, I grew up in a hostile household. The neighborhood, the two neighborhoods that I was raised in, particularly the one that I was raised in as a child, could be hostile. So you had to watch yourself, and then again, the household was consistently hostile, and I realized that I had to play the game if I wanted to earn certain things, and sometimes at jobs that were hostile too. You have to play certain games. You can't necessarily say what you think or say how you feel, because that doesn't matter. They want the job to get done. They want you to produce. And go ahead.
No. So they're concepts. So they're not really in the real world. They're pretty much just in our mind.
Perhaps. Yeah. I mean,
Con, and sept. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Working against you.
Isn't that a song? God is a concept. I forget.
I think both anger and fear are both fires, and they're there for a reason. And you don't want to let either one consume you. And that's what I strive to do. And I think to a degree, perhaps love can also be a fire, but you don't want to be consumed by that either, because I think a human being needs clarity on things. At least for me, I desire clarity. I desire, like, the world the way it is, not the way I want it to be, and within the human connection. I think human beings are social, they're not logical or reasonable. But there is logic and reason to some extent, and there is reality to some extent. And, I see things a certain way, and for me, I have yet to observe the contrary belief, and maybe it's my ego that's stopping me, but I certainly see things, I think, perhaps much different than Joe, or Darren. I mean,
I,
I go ahead.
What would you define as supernatural? I mean, is love and hate supernatural, or something that's outside of our minds that's moving stuff like in the physical world?
It is. It's an emotion, and I think people define love differently, but
Well, I want to
it's
know what you think supernatural is.
supernatural is outside of nature, and that that can't be something that cannot be explained within the natural world. That is extraordinary, and I don't necessarily subscribe to that those beliefs. I mean, I'm willing to, kind of be open-minded to it to a bit, but I mean, and there are people that are inspired to do great things. If you look at the churches in America and in the world, you'll see some beautiful things that perhaps were inspired by, like love, the love of their faith and the love of their religion.
Well, a little bit different though on the definition of supernatural, because it's of or relating to an order of existence beyond the visible, observable universe.
Wouldn't
So
that be love?
is it possible you don't have the eyes to see certain things that somebody else sees? That's just one way to look at it. Also,
Well, look, there are people who do not have the eyes, and there are people who've, like they've always like, I don't see what you see, I
Mm.
don't observe what you observe, and like we're looking at two things, and I don't see the same things that you're looking at, you
Right?
know,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is. I mean, like I see, you know, uh, certain things, the way they are. There is a harshness to nature and human nature, and I believe that we are seeing this now. We are seeing this play out now in real time. The harshness of nature, the harshness of the hive mind. We're seeing
Well,
this in real time.
let me ask you something. Would you agree with me if I said that the mask was a supernatural ritual?
I,
Because it was protecting us from something that we could not see, touch, feel, or even know we had in some cases.
I think perhaps, and look, I don't know. First of all, I'm going to be blunt and honest here.
Mhm.
I don't know how effective or ineffective the mask was, but I do believe that there was an authoritarian hive mind that refused to discuss the merits of the mask. Um, and that's what kind of angered me the most, most of all. But I mean, I saw almost fights with people who were, there was a guy out jogging, like when this virus first hit, a person was out jogging, and the guy, told him to, like, hey, put your mask, like put your mask on. And there was, it was a complete cultural thing. And here's another thing. I don't know. I don't believe, by the way, that that there was some kind of conspiratorial thing here. I think that people actually believe what they believe.
Believe.
That's true,
Well,
and they had a belief in it. But
yeah.
again, they were the one thing about this was they were enforcing this on everybody, and they would not hear contrary opinions.
So I was told one time that my ego was in the way. It was my ego that was the reason for my not wanting to put that thing on. And I asked my friend, I said, well, why are you saying that my ego is in the way when it comes to your supernatural belief? He got mad.
They also could say, look, this mask prevents particles from leaving, and like, and vice versa. They may say it's not necessarily perfect.
Yeah. Irregardless, to me, it was supernatural. There's nothing based in reality or nature that they were describing to me. So
You know what?
that was
Again,
that's just how I saw it. You know,
and
it's a little more controversial.
and again, I respect. I mean, I am neither here nor there on the mask. If someone asks me to put it on, I will do it. There's, and I know you, Joe. You are like you'll probably leave a place and go to the places a couple blocks down that don't require a mask.
I still don't go to the places that rejected me in my neighborhood for not wearing a mask when they had their dumb mandates, when they were not allowing me in to buy food. Then I'm still not going back to them. So
We had a
I'm
couple
using the wall.
restaurants that were some of our best restaurants, and they went out of business because of that.
Good. They should have.
Because people didn't go back to the restaurant because they were so mean.
I see that
at
all
the
the time
door.
too. Yeah, I see that a lot here too. Yeah, a lot of places just folded. Yeah.
If they were kind about it at the door, but they were like Nazis. It was pretty bad.
Mhm.
It made you feel like,
Now I wonder, should they have fought for what they, should they have fought, or did they really believe in a supernatural belief? In my view, but whatever.
What?
I don't want to push that too hard, but that's just really how I felt, and that's what I said in public. And it may not have gone over too well with some people, but right now I'm in a position to speak with my wallet, and I'm choosing other places. Period.
Well, again, there are plenty of things of beliefs that came out of of this place. We had to defund the police movement. We had the BLM protests that some of them ended up becoming riots that they called mostly peaceful protest. When a protest starts becoming unpeaceful, it used to be called a riot. Now they don't say that anymore. And they defamed law enforcement, and they defamed the history of the nation, not only the history of this nation, but the history of other people's nations. And they did it in such an authoritarian way, the likes of which I've never seen before. Go ahead.
Didn't like how the media covered it. If it was just fair, about what was really going on, and it to me it seemed like it just kept lying, and there's just hoax after hoax, and I was more mad about the media than I was anything else about the whole thing.
Well, again, the media has ideals and ideas, and again, it's got nothing, in my opinion, it's got nothing to do with it that they believe it is profitable. They are ideologues, and
So then they should be sued they should be sued and forced to indicate that the news is for entertainment purposes only. In my view, I would
like our news worse
good
than
luck. Good luck.
I wish that would happen. I wish somebody with enough money would step up and do that.
Good luck.
If you have freedom of the press, your press could also be. It doesn't mean it has to be open, and they can do whatever they want. And right now, it seems like our press is worse than the press in Russia. My friend has family in Russia, and they play our news on their news, and they criticize it. We don't.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that, but that makes sense.
You know what? There is I think he was a Russian spy, and he said that they thought the leftists here were far more stupid than than the communists there. They said these people are really dumb and really just they can't see beyond any like some of the stuff they were coming up with. They thought were kooky. And but they buy it hook, line, and sinker, and it's a religion too. We're following the people who are ultra Christian, and then the wokesters, and we're stuck between human beings are stuck between two faiths, and it's like I said, believe science. Well, what science? And the truth is, we can't even discuss it openly and honestly. And that's the society in which we're living in now. It can shut you down at any time. And an internet that, I guess was supposed to be the information age is no longer. And by the way, I also want to mention that, when they shut us down, the people that were in favor of the riots and stuff were able to form on social media. And those that opposed them could not. And that's what, and they were able to affect policy.
What I liked is I watched Biden and Kamala said they'd never take the fucking vaccine. They'd never take it. Not if it's because Trump is the one that, pushed it. And then as soon as Trump lost, they were like pro-vaccine. It's like, what? Weren't they just saying they would never take it? It's like, did I see that video correctly?
Yeah. and now it's the Trump supporters that are anti-vax, and the anti-Trump people that are pro-vax.
I know, and like the mask is now just like it's just to prove how good you are towards others. It seems like people are still wearing them. Either that or they're afraid. I don't know. They just don't want to take them off. Not up here, they don't.
That's what they believe. They believe that the mask is effective, and you'll see you'll see the reason why you should wear like a mask. They have why you should wear pants. The guy who's it's kind of like like you can like a guy who's not wearing any pants and he's peeing on another guy. And he says, but if you wear a mask, you just pee on yourself, and I don't get any of that. So like when you sneeze, I'm wearing a mask. I'm protected from your sneeze, because the particles aren't coming out, and we're both kind of more protecting each other from our particles. That's the belief.
Well, we only have so many ways to eliminate all the garbage from our body, and our mouth is one of the biggest. And so to breathe in our own exhaust fumes, how is that good? It's blocking our spirit.
I hate it.
Our breath is our spirit. If our breath is being blocked, then in essence that they are blocking our spirit. But go ahead, Darren.
I hated wearing a mask. I hated it at work.
Every second.
Hotel. I was just wearing a shield, and then like the guests would always complain. That was like the last straw. And then I drive an Uber. I'll just ask them. I don't mind wearing a mask even now. If I'm picking up an old lady from the hospital or whatever, I'll say, do you want me to wear a mask? They have one on. I said, do you want me to put my mask on? I already had COVID. I've had COVID 3 times now. Well, probably the worst was the last one, just because I got so worn down beforehand. I just got over it about 4 weeks ago.
By the way, Joe and I have both not had COVID, and yeah,
I love it. It's fun. It's just like a bad cold.
Somehow we've and yeah, one of us is vax, one is not, and neither of us have gotten it.
All my vaccinated friends are starting to get it now. In the last like 3 weeks, all the people that were really afraid to get it. I had one friend. He never left his house. He's so scared. It's crazy.
Has he gotten anything?
No, not yet, but he will. He'll get it eventually. We're supposed to take boosters for every 3-4 months for the rest of our lives now?
Maybe.
That's the plan.
I mean, again, who knows exactly what's going on?
I have a rash right now. I hope I don't have monkeypox. Should we start worrying about monkeypox now too?
Oh my goodness!
With every rash is a monkeypox. It's like every sniffle's COVID, man.
I'm monkeypoxing.
They want to change the name of monkeypox because they think it's racist or something.
It's absurd. It's an absurd name. It's an absurd conception. It's another mental waxing. Brian, anything? Do we have any juice left? Does anybody here want to say anything? Does anybody want to call in? Anybody want to ask Brian a question? Darren, you have any questions or comments?
I don't know. I only have answers tonight. Do you have
Yeah.
any questions for me?
You know what? I think yesterday Brian and I did a solutions show sort of, and I thought it was super effective because we spent the night working on suggestions on what are you going to do about it. And I thought that was a great topic. I think that was a great theme for the show. What are you going to do about it? Darren, what are you going to do about it? I think I'm going to just start saying that all the time now.
But that's a great thing to say.
Yeah.
About what though?
I don't know. Like we have some gripes here tonight, and we have, we're talking about red pilling and all that stuff. And I guess, now we're moving in. I think we're in a holding period. I don't know how else to explain it. Like it's kind of the calm before the storm. At least it feels like nothing major is coming at us at this very moment, and it feels like the first reprieve we've had since 2020.
Is
But
January 6th
I don't know.
still going on?
Oh yeah.
Are
Yeah.
they still doing that?
Oh yeah.
Holy fuck! Who watches it? I know Joe Seeker watches it. I don't know anybody else that's watching it.
Yeah, Joe Seeker's Joe Seeker. He has a right to be, think what he. I mean, again, people aren't going to change. People aren't going to change their views. A lot of people are stuck in their views, and they're stuck in their reality, regardless of whether they're red pilled or woke.
As we're like supposedly close to World War III there in Ukraine, and here we're doing this expensive one-sided freaking January 6th investigation, which is just ridiculous in my opinion. It's a waste of time, waste of money.
Now, does your daughter have like a Ukrainian flag on her picture and stuff? Does she believe in that too? F Putin and stuff. Does she?
Oh
does she-
God, oh yeah, fuck Putin. Putin's the devil.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay. I mean, yeah. To me, I think, our biggest threat, it's not China, and I've said this before. You may disagree, Darren, but it's not China. It's not Russia. It's not the Ukraine. It's not the Iranians. It's American citizens. It's American citizens that wanted us locked down. It's American citizens that forced us to take a jab. It's American citizens that called out mostly peaceful protest. And it's American citizens that said that Antifa is just an idea, not a real thing. The same way that J. Edgar Hoover said the mafia didn't exist.
I think they threw everything at it, and I think that they did not succeed. And I think people are starting to come together now.
Who knows whether they come together or not, or whether they are stopped from coming together or
But
not.
you're right; it was close there, freaking close to civil war.
And
Stop talking to each other. Luckily, we got
yeah,
people in the middle again, making sense.
I don't know if we have anybody from the middle, and I don't know if anyone's going to come for the middle. I know that we have two like polar opposites. In the middle, on average, from what I observe, they don't necessarily come out. I'd like to talk to them because I consider myself a person of the middle, a human being of the middle. And I don't know if it's possible to get to a center again, to get to reasonable behavior again, but that is my wish.
What do you think about what our country's done to the rest of the world, the CIA, and just what we've done to poor nations around the globe over the last 50 years?
What we've done to nations around the globe, I don't know. I mean, again, we may have done bad things and we may have done good things. On average, like I said, conquest is part of nature. All nations have done it, and human beings do it. Human beings do it in this country, and in Europe, human beings do it through their votes. And empathy is the currency of the poor, and they have the West has a lot of sympathizers to give them that currency, and often they will give them that currency at the expense of others.
Interesting. Good point, Brian.
Yeah.
Hit that one out of the park.
Yeah, pretty good point there.
I don't know if Joe necessarily agrees with me, but that's certainly the way in which I see it. I mean, and I certainly could be wrong in my assessment. But again,
That was
for,
definitely the rant of the year for your show.
oh, oh, okay.
You're getting a standing ovation, actually. Great.
Now, is it mockery or is it a? It's hard to know whether it is a reality or if it's like monkey
Oh,
monkey box.
You mean us?
Yeah.
No, I meant it. That was great.
Oh, thank you.
Good show. Save that clip.
Yeah, we'll clip it. I don't know, Brian. What do you think? Are we good, or why are you awake? Says Stabby McHugs. Are you kidding me? Go back to bed, dude.
Epic show. How long have we been on?
3.5 hours. No, I'm kidding. Hour and 45.
Hour and 45 minutes. So each time I think we break certain forms of records here on transparency and merit, and I guess it's always a good thing to.
What are you gonna do about it?
What are you gonna do about it, Stabby?
Yeah.
That's our theme.
Again, my thing is to talk to other human beings and have an open and honest discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we come with our beliefs. Joe has his beliefs.
I am going to keep writing. I mean, that's what I have. I'm going to keep acting. I'm going to keep not acting, but I'm going to keep on. I'm going to take the information and I'm going to act on it. I'm going to execute what I need to get done. I'm going to follow through and prove to myself that I can make the difference, the change that I want to make. And that's
I'm gonna get
very important. It's the most important thing in my life right now.
I'm gonna get in the cab and I'm gonna go to rehab.
Really? Why do you go to rehab? Are you
That's from Saturday Night Live or something. I'm not on any drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not on anything right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like
That's
no pills whatsoever.
Nice.
That's good.
Say no to pills and
caffeine. That's about it.
Brian doesn't even drink. I did have one beer tonight, but Brian he drinks milk solely. I'm kidding. What's your big drink? Water? He just drinks water, and I think that's the biggest change I think I've seen in Brian. Actually, when I met him, Darren, he used to chug 2-liter bottles. He drink a ton of soda every day.
Diet soda didn't do me any good. Yeah, it's kind of one of the worst things for you.
Is it? I still drink too much diet stuff.
Get that.
Gross.
Really bad for you.
Sometimes I'll get
Well, for one, it makes your farts go nuclear. Do you have disgusting farts?
No. Only if it's beer.
Oh my god. But yeah, why diet? If I'm going to drink a soda, it's got to have cane sugar in it.
Well, you're not diabetic, so you're able.
Yeah,
to.
I'm pre-diabetic.
And the thing is, all human beings are different, and they come in with different experiences, and they come in with different realities.
Yeah.
Again, my opinion is to help, like for myself and others, to help them kind of realize a reality. Sometimes there's a violent, there can be a violent world out there, and how to handle it, and how to get the most just and moral society that we can gain. In my opinion, as of now, we are under a group of ideological fanatics who believe in what they believe, and they will not they will not hear the other side. And Darren has been product of that, and I've been around that as well. And these people right now control the establishment. And
What's funny though, like going out and about, like DoorDashing and Ubering and stuff. People are as now as they've ever been in my entire life.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
People are what?
Or as kind to each other now
Oh.
as ever. For some reason, the younger generation, they're pretty. I think it's probably because they grew up with social media. They're always concerned about what other people think of them and stuff. But they're pretty nice. Like when I'm driving around in my car.
Yeah, but again, there are people. Again, they're not the ones, in my opinion, that have gained control of the establishment. And yeah, there are nice people in your car. There are like good, easy people to talk to, but
Yeah,
they're not there are people like your daughter that probably control Fortune 500 companies, and they also control the social media, and they strive to affect policy, and they strive to silence those that they disagree with, and they are very authoritarian, and they believe in total punitive action, and that's one of the reasons why I'll ask somebody, do you believe in due process, the right, like, am I innocent until proven guilty as a human being before you fire me from my job or take away my bank account? Do I have some form of due process as a human being before you cripple me economically? And you either do or you don't. And if you don't, I can't say that you're my friend and that I love you. As a matter of fact, I either want to fight you or flee you. And I think that's where we have to be. And, build a place where there's a wall between those that believe that and those that believe other. And don't let those people in because they're bad news.
I've always wanted to smoke a bowl with Stabby McHugs.
I've smoked pot with Stabby before.
You have?
Yeah, we watched that band at the barbecue.
Ah, you're so lucky. Damn.
Have you ever met a guy named June?
No, I have not met him.
Have you seen his face?
No.
No. Anyway, Joey, is there anything to add before we call this show a day?
Yeah, Brian and I are looking into RVs, and we're gonna come visit a town near you soon at some point. I think we should look harder, Brian, and get one. All right. But yeah,
Take the show on the road.
what am I gonna do about it? I'm gonna keep writing, man. I'm gonna keep writing, and I'm gonna keep my mind as open as possible, even though I'm getting to be a curmudgeonly old man.
Remember and Joe, the one thing that Joe said that is correct, the pen is mightier than the sword. Again, always strive to kind of rethink things, and chess is a great way to kind of realize reality and self-defense. Because one of the things that chess taught me was if I'm too offensive, I leave myself open for attack. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hopefully this bloviation, people may like what is being said. Anything else to add before I end this show?
Love is supernatural.
Joey?
I had a supernatural number 2 today. But anyways, that's it. Good night.
All right, guys, I wish you all the best. And whether you're Christian, Muslim, gay, lesbian, straight, transsexual, welcome all thoughts and all
Or
ideas.
Stabby McHugs.
And again, bring us transparency. And, bring us transparency, and then we will decide whether or not it has merit or not. But first, we need transparency. There can be no merit without transparency. Anyway, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thank you.